Some of the first batches that we made from the malt house were not exceptional. They were not on spec, and so we had to find an outlet for it. And so we had been talking to some distillers, and we basically struck up a deal that we would provide the distillery grain. They would distill it, store it, put it in their warehouse, sit on it for a while, and when we went to bottle it, we would create a product and we would split things 50-50. That's kind of like just the high view of what those initial conversations were. Okay. So some of that malt that we first produced from this building are now part of what is now our Root Shoot Single Malt whiskey. Yeah. Right. And so single malt has become a big deal in the whiskey world because it's the newest official style of whiskey that's being recognized. Okay. So it's good. There are not very many producers of single malt whiskey. So it's pretty small classification, mostly due to price of malted barley. Okay. So a lot of distilleries they make bourbon because bourbon's cheaper, corn is cheaper, rye is cheaper. Malted barley is the expensive portion, right? Oh, yeah. So that's what we have. We're making malted barley. So this essentially became just an outlet for some materials that were aging, that were maybe a little off spec. Well, I've been training for this podcast for my whole life, so.
That was the first thing you said to me. I was like, huh? Oh, I thought he'd buy a beer.
Yep. It's such a good name. The other one we like was Abs of Ale.
Yeah, that's gonna be, that's our on the because if you've checked out our logo, it's a very voluptuous logo, right? We are. So we need some more guy focus. Thank you.
So this was some of the first products that we were making out of this facility went towards this. So what we originally did is we made 10 barrels of whiskey, and then this is the result of those 10 barrels blended together. And if we keep moving forward in the timeline, every year since that first release, we have set grains aside to be distilled and stored. And over time, the quality has gotten better and better and better and better and different. So we now have more barrels laid down than we even know what to do with. Mostly American Single Malt whiskey. Wow. And it changes just a little bit every year. So the distilling season changes, the agricultural season changes, and then the availability of what products we have coming out of the malt house that we can siphon off for this project changes a little bit every year. So we have another release coming out this year, which is the second years of whiskey production, but it's just a touch different than the first year, just based on the products that we had. So now we're talking about higher quality products. The next one has a little bit more specialty malt than this does. So it just changes a little bit every single year that we have releases. And so now that we're like 5 years down the line, we're now sent out for, we have a heritage bourbon that's coming out soon. We have a rye, we have 4-grain, we just sent out for wheated bourbon production a couple of weeks ago. So in the next 4 or 5 years, we're going to have a bunch of different SKUs of our products coming from this malt house that somebody else has distilled for us, right? And the idea, we don't have a distillery. We're relying on our friends and partners that are much better at making distilled spirits than we would ever be, right? To make that for us. So we're just leaning on their expertise with our input to make our own products. It's a very interesting, it was a really great thought, really great idea when we had that to begin with. And then we just kind of stuck with that idea, and now we're 5 years down the road and we have lots of liquor laid down. And we're a little unsure what to do with some of it, but I mean, we have a lot. Yeah. And as we move forward, we'll just have more interesting and cooler releases. Like I touched on a little bit earlier about the 100-year lease of picking our favorite barrel that we have at our disposal and just packaging that one and doing that for the 100-year mark of the farm, like just, you know, some of those really cool ideas, and, you know, something to bring some attention to the farm, what we're doing here at the malt house, and then translating down to this.
Obviously, you're going to figure out what to do with what you've got because you guys know what you're doing. But like, what a fun, not even like a kind of a happy accident, but not really, but
Yep.
like, wow.
Absolutely. I mean,
The caramel that comes off the nose is incredible. I'm just over here just.
yeah, it's this whiskey has won a few golds already out in the world, which is unbelievably exciting to have our very first whiskey being recognized as some of the world's best single malt.
The grain pops big
Right.
too. Oh my God.
So we're really excited for next year's release because we think it's a touch better.
All right.
At least I do anyways.
All right.
And then down the line, you know, because now we have barrels that we're letting sit and age a little bit longer, and we're getting some different expressions out of them. And now we have more to choose from for what we go to bottling. So we're not picking all of them.
Right.
We're narrowing down some of that, you know, what is our best, what flavor profiles do we like as a team. And, you know, we drink a lot more whiskey nowadays. But it's just been an interesting adventure. And, you know, the team here this is their first venture into spirits, and so we're learning a ton along the way, whether
Sure.
it comes from maturation, the distilling process, what grains are doing in the fermentation, like what the flavor
Yep.
profiles are. And we spend a lot of time with our friends who are much better and well versed at this, and they're lending their expertise
Sure.
to help guide us a little bit. And what is coming out of this is this, and it's really something to be proud of. Really exciting and new and different. So, and like I said earlier, with us being a special operation because we're vertically integrated, but now we're even moving that notch a little bit because now we have our own whiskey brand, and you know, how far can that go?
Sure.
So,
I think you're gonna go far. I don't know. You can, whatever that means for coming from me, but
yeah,
wow.
it's pretty exciting. This is
Congratulations.
this is a very exciting operation to be a part of.
Living the dream.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Cheers.
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 Illegal amount of cheers.
I would really like my stepdad to see this right now. Maybe I'll bring you a bottle.
Part of our mission, or what we've tried to do, is there's a big disconnect in the brewing and distilling industry of where products are coming from.
Yeah.
Right, so brewers are just ordering stuff from the catalog based off of
Yeah.
a description,
Yeah.
based off of some known values. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I brewed with this, and I kind of know what it tastes like. This should probably taste the same, right? So there's been a shift in time, in my opinion, in the brewing mostly the brewing world, of where their raw materials are coming from and what a difference their raw materials can make. So when we're here in a very saturated market here in Colorado, and you're looking for a point of differentiation, you start at your raw materials,
Amen.
right? So this is where you make a change, whether it's with your dollar or, you know, your ethos as a company, like just any of those things. And so having a different mindset and actually understanding what goes into the production of your raw materials, or where they come from, or how they're handled, or what flavor profiles do they have,
Yeah.
how are they different,
Yep.
why are they
How is it
different?
changing?
Yes,
Yeah.
and how's it changing
Yeah.
from year to year, because this, you know, some consumers know, people don't understand, but beer, whiskey, those are all agricultural products. It's just, it is what it is.
That's right.
It's all coming from the ground. So, you know, understanding that concept a little bit more can help elevate your drinking experience. It can help enlighten the consumer a little bit. So, I mean, this is like really deep conversation, but I mean,
I'm
for
into it.
people that get it, they get it,
Yeah.
right? They understand it. They're like, okay, I see you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And wine too, right? Like,
I don't drink it.
no wine?
Who drink? Who drinks wine?
Not me. I love wine. Yeah. I don't discriminate. If we would have showed up and you're like, yeah, I got this 30-year-old bottle of Goldschlager, I'd be like, all right, cool.
All right, let's do this.
Let's see where life takes us.
That's funny.
I have one final question. It's probably the only quirky question that we have, but it is deeper, so take it where you want to go. If you could be any beer in the world, what beer would you be and why?
Well,
or booze, that's cool.
number one, I would be a lager. Lots of attention and time put into that, right? Lots of thought process, but I would be a smoky lager. We most recently, as a team, went to Germany last year and got to hang out in Bamberg at the home of smoked beer. And that experience of being in Munich and then Bamberg and drinking on the streets and the train and the people and some of the beverages there, like, you read about these things, but then to actually experience them is like, it's kind of changing. Like, so the beer that we were having in Germany, in Bamberg, like, that's what I want to be. Just
The Rausch beer?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, in September.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. There is nothing like it.
Yep.
There really isn't, and I like barbecue. I like smoked things, but it was hot when we were there, and we went in, and it was just like, oh, this is just really good. And you're staring at the wall, and it says 724 on it.
Yep.
You're like, you mean this building's been here since 724 or 42? I might have mixed it up. And they're like, yeah. And similar to this, right? They had a bag of smoked barley sitting on the table when you walked in, and you could eat it and try it out. I'm with you. What a great answer.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. That's it.
You're gonna be like whiskey.
Yeah, I was like, it's right behind you.